On the morning of August 6, 1945, the sky over Hiroshima was clear, calm, and deceiving. For 29-year-old Tsutomu Yamaguchi, it was supposed to be the final day of a business trip. An engineer working for Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, he had spent the last 3 months in Hiroshima, away from his wife and baby son in Nagasaki. He was heading to the shipyard with two colleagues when he realized he had forgotten his hanko, a personal stamp used for official documents, back at the boarding house. He turned back alone to retrieve it. That small decision may have saved his life. At 8:15 a.m., as he walked across a field after collecting his stamp, the sky erupted in a blinding flash. A great white light filled the sky, he later said. It was as if the sun had exploded. Then came the pressure wave. The force hurled him through the air. His body hit the ground hard, ears ringing, face bleeding, and skin scorched. He was just 3 kilometers from the epicenter of the world's first atomic bomb attack. Everything around him vanished in an instant. Houses were flattened. Fires roared through the wreckage. The beautiful city he had known turned into a living hell, a wasteland of fire, screams, and ash. With burns on his face and arms, eardrums ruptured, and his vision blurred, Tsutomu staggered toward a shelter. That night he found his 2 colleagues, both alive, though injured, and they decided to leave the city at dawn, unaware that Hiroshima was just the beginning. The next morning they walked through a charred, silent city to the train station. Miraculously, the railway lines had survived. The train to Nagasaki was running. In agony and wrapped in bandages, Tsutomu boarded the train and began the long journey home, unaware that fate was preparing to strike again. The year was 1945. The world was gripped by the final, devastating months of World War II. In Japan, the city of Hiroshima bustled with ordinary people going about their daily lives, unaware that history was about to be rewritten in fire and shadow. Tsutomu Yamaguchi was an ordinary man, an engineer, a family man, a patriot. On August 6, 1945, Tsutomu was in Hiroshima on a business trip when the unthinkable happened. The American B-29 bomber Enola Gay released the world's first atomic bomb. The explosion ripped through the city with unimaginable force, a blinding flash followed by a crushing shockwave. Buildings crumbled, fires consumed everything, and tens of thousands were instantly killed. Against all odds, Tsutomu survived. He was thrown to the ground by the blast but remained conscious. Severely burned and deafened by the explosion, he managed to find his way through the ruins of Hiroshima. Bloodied and shocked, he searched desperately for his family. But fate had one more cruel twist. Despite his injuries, Tsutomu boarded a train to his hometown, Nagasaki. On August 9th, just 3 days later, the second atomic bomb was dropped on Nagasaki. Tsutomu was once again caught in the epicenter of unimaginable destruction, twice hit by 2 atomic bombs. Twice a city obliterated around him, yet Tsutomu survived. His body was burned and scarred, and his hearing was damaged permanently, but his spirit refused to break. For years he suffered from radiation sickness and the psychological trauma of witnessing 2 apocalyptic events in less than a week. His story remained largely unknown outside Japan for decades, but what made Tsutomu's survival truly remarkable was not just his physical endurance, it was his resilience and determination to live and bear witness. As he later said in interviews, "I'm not a hero. I was just unlucky, or maybe lucky, to survive 2 bombs." His life became a symbol of endurance, tragedy, and the human cost of nuclear war. Tsutomu Yamaguchi passed away in 2010 at the age of 93, recognized by the Japanese government as a hibakusha, a survivor of the atomic bombings. His story forces us to confront the devastating power of atomic weapons and the human lives forever changed by their use. The man who survived 2 atomic bombs is a reminder of both the horrors of war and the incredible resilience of the human spirit. After the second blast in Nagasaki, Tsutomu Yamaguchi's world was unrecognizable. The city lay in ruins, fires still burning fiercely as chaos reigned. Despite his severe injuries, burns covering much of his body and permanent hearing loss, he summoned the strength to help others trapped beneath debris and guided survivors to safety. The trauma was overwhelming. Radiation sickness began to manifest in waves of nausea, fatigue, and mysterious ailments that doctors at the time struggled to understand. Hospitals were overwhelmed. Many victims never received adequate treatment. Tsutomu returned home to his family, who had believed him dead after the first bombing. His wife and children were astonished but relieved to see him alive, though the scars on his skin told a brutal story. Life did not return to normal. For years, Tsutomu wrestled with physical pain and the emotional burden of what he had witnessed. The world around him was changed forever, and so was he. Despite the suffering, Tsutomu refused to live in silence. He became a vocal advocate for nuclear disarmament and peace. He shared his experiences widely, warning future generations about the horrors of atomic warfare. His testimony gave a human face to the incomprehensible scale of destruction, one man's story that echoed the voices of tens of thousands. For decades, Tsutomu attended memorial ceremonies in both Hiroshima and Nagasaki, standing as a living reminder of the consequences of war and the urgent need for peace. In a world grappling with the dangers of nuclear weapons, his courage and survival story continue to inspire. Tsutomu's journey from devastation to activism highlighted the resilience of humanity even amid the darkest chapters of history. He reminded us that even in the face of unimaginable tragedy, the will to survive and advocate for a better future can prevail. Tsutomu Yamaguchi's life, after surviving 2 atomic bombings, was marked not only by physical pain, but also by an emotional and psychological battle that lasted decades. The horrors he had witnessed were seared into his memory: the blinding light, the deafening roar, the suffocating heat waves, and the eerie silence that followed. His body bore the scars of radiation burns, but his mind carried even deeper wounds. In the months following the bombings, Tsutomu experienced the grim realities of radiation sickness. Symptoms fluctuated unpredictably: relentless fatigue, bouts of vomiting, hair loss, and severe skin infections. Many survivors around him succumbed to mysterious illnesses, and the invisible enemy of radiation left many fearing for their lives. Despite the overwhelming odds, Tsutomu sought medical help wherever possible. The medical infrastructure in post-war Japan was devastated, with limited knowledge about radiation exposure. Yet he persevered through painful treatments and extended hospital stays. His determination to live for his family kept him going. His wife, a pillar of strength, stood by him, caring for their children and supporting Tsutomu as he navigated the uncertain road to recovery. Their home, once filled with laughter, was now a place shadowed by loss and hardship, but also resilience. In the years that followed, Tsutomu's health remained fragile. He faced multiple battles with cancer, a long-term consequence of radiation exposure, surviving against all odds. Each diagnosis was a brutal reminder of the bombings, but also a testament to his unwavering spirit. Amidst personal suffering, Tsutomu emerged as an advocate for peace. He spoke openly about the catastrophic effects of nuclear weapons, breaking a silence that many survivors felt pressured to keep. His rare story of surviving both Hiroshima and Nagasaki made him a unique and powerful voice in anti-nuclear campaigns. He traveled extensively, sharing his testimony with the world's leaders, peace activists, and ordinary people. His message was clear and urgent: humanity must never allow such destruction again. The trauma of war had changed him, but it had also forged a man dedicated to ensuring future generations learn from the past. Tsutomu's story transcended tragedy. It became a beacon of hope and a warning. Even in the face of overwhelming loss, his life was a powerful reminder of resilience, courage, and the unyielding human will to survive. He stood as a living testament that while history can leave deep scars, the desire for peace and understanding can heal even the deepest wounds. As years passed, Tsutomu Yamaguchi's life unfolded against the backdrop of a world still grappling with the aftermath of nuclear devastation. His experience, twice exposed to the atomic firestorm, was unique, yet his story echoed the struggles of countless hibakusha, bomb-affected people, who faced discrimination, health issues, and societal challenges. Despite surviving such unimaginable horrors, Yamaguchi faced prejudice. In post-war Japan, many hibakusha were stigmatized, often barred from employment or marriage due to fears about radiation sickness being contagious or hereditary. Tsutomu, however, refused to be defined by this stigma. Instead, he chose to confront the shadows of his past head-on. In his professional life, Yamaguchi returned to Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, where he had worked before the war. His colleagues, some unaware of his experiences, soon learned of his survival story, which inspired both awe and solemn respect. Yet even in this familiar environment, the scars of war were felt daily in whispered fears and sideways glances. More than anything, Tsutomu found purpose in sharing his testimony. His commitment to peace and nuclear disarmament intensified over time. He believed that telling the raw, painful truth about the bombings was essential to preventing future tragedies. His public speeches, interviews, and participation in peace conferences brought global attention to the human cost of nuclear weapons. One of his most memorable moments was speaking at the United Nations in New York, where he recounted the horrors of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, urging world leaders to pursue disarmament and diplomacy. His plea was powerful, not from a place of hatred, but from a deep yearning for humanity's survival. Tsutomu's advocacy was not without personal sacrifice. Revisiting the trauma in public forums reopened old wounds, both physical and emotional. Yet he persevered, driven by a sense of responsibility to those who never survived and those who would live in a world shadowed by nuclear threats. His family stood by him throughout these endeavors, supporting his mission while grappling with their own worries about his health and well-being. The collective strength of his loved ones was a testament to the enduring human spirit in the face of adversity. In 2009, Tsutomu Yamaguchi passed away at the age of 93, leaving behind a legacy that transcended his personal suffering. His story remains one of the most remarkable human survival accounts, one that teaches the world about resilience, hope, and the urgent need to prevent the horrors he endured from ever happening again. Through his life and voice, Tsutomu Yamaguchi became not just a survivor of 2 atomic bombs, but a symbol of peace, endurance, and the unbreakable will to live. Even after the war, the shadows of Tsutomu Yamaguchi's experience clung tightly to his life. The physical toll of radiation exposure began to manifest in unexpected ways. Though he initially survived without major injury, the long-term effects emerged slowly. Periodic bouts of illness, persistent fatigue, and a heightened risk of cancer haunted him and many other hibakusha. Doctors monitored Yamaguchi closely. Medical records reveal that he endured numerous health scares, yet he faced each challenge with stoic determination. This resilience became part of his identity, a man who had stared death in the face twice and chosen life every time. But beyond his physical struggles, Yamaguchi faced a different kind of battle, the silent stigma of being a hibakusha in Japanese society. Many survivors encountered discrimination, often subtle but deeply painful. Employers hesitated to hire those exposed to radiation. Social interactions sometimes carried an undercurrent of fear or pity, alienating survivors from their communities. Yamaguchi understood this well. He remembered times when neighbors would keep their distance, and strangers would ask invasive questions about his health or family. Yet he never allowed bitterness to take root. Instead, he sought to educate, to humanize the hibakusha story. His commitment to advocacy gained momentum in the decades following the bombings. Yamaguchi became a sought-after speaker at peace rallies, schools, and international forums. His testimony was direct and poignant, a vivid reminder of the catastrophic consequences of nuclear warfare. One notable event was his 2007 visit to Nagasaki, where he participated in the annual memorial ceremony. There, surrounded by survivors, families, and dignitaries, Yamaguchi's words resonated deeply. The bombs took our loved ones, our homes, our future, but they will never take away our hope. He also contributed to documentaries, interviews, and books that chronicled the hibakusha experience, ensuring their stories were not forgotten. Through these efforts, Yamaguchi helped shape a global narrative that balanced historical fact with the human emotions behind them. His family life remained a cornerstone of his strength. His wife and children provided unwavering support as he navigated the complexities of survivor life and public attention. They understood the weight of his mission and stood firmly beside him. Despite the immense challenges, Tsutomu Yamaguchi's legacy is not one of despair, but of courage and hope. He remains a powerful symbol of survival and the urgent call for a nuclear-free world. As the years passed, Tsutomu Yamaguchi's story transcended mere survival. It became a testament to the human spirit's capacity for endurance, forgiveness, and advocacy. His unique experience of surviving two atomic bombings put him in a rare category, one that attracted global attention and shaped discussions about war, peace, and humanity. Despite the trauma etched into his body and mind, Yamaguchi remained committed to living a meaningful life. He continued working as a draftsman at Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, returning to his job after each medical setback. His colleagues admired his quiet strength and unwavering dedication. For them, he was not just a survivor, but an emblem of resilience. Yet the scars left by the bombings extended beyond the physical. Yamaguchi often spoke of the emotional burden, of losing friends, witnessing devastation, and confronting a future clouded by uncertainty. He struggled silently with the memories that refused to fade, the sounds of the blasts echoing in his mind. But in the face of this, Yamaguchi chose to channel his pain into activism. He worked tirelessly with hibakusha organizations, pushing governments worldwide to acknowledge the horrors of nuclear weapons and to commit to disarmament. His voice became a beacon of truth, cutting through political rhetoric with raw, lived experience. One of the pivotal moments in his advocacy came in 2009 when he was officially recognized by the Japanese government as a survivor of both Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings. This recognition not only validated his personal story, but also highlighted the broader plight of double survivors who had often been overlooked in official records. Internationally, Yamaguchi's appearances at peace conferences and United Nations forums underscored the urgent need for dialogue and reconciliation. His testimony was harrowing yet hopeful, painting a vivid picture of the consequences of nuclear warfare while advocating for a world free of such weapons. Beyond formal settings, Yamaguchi touched countless lives through media interviews, documentaries, and public speeches. His calm demeanor and heartfelt words resonated universally, transcending cultural and linguistic barriers. People saw in him a living history lesson, a reminder of the past that demanded vigilance to prevent future tragedies. Even in his later years, Yamaguchi remained active in the peace movement, often traveling to share his message. His home in Nagasaki became a quiet sanctuary, a place where he could reflect on his journey and the family that grounded him. Through every challenge, Tsutomu Yamaguchi's legacy grew, not just as a man who survived two atomic bombs, but as a tireless advocate for peace, a symbol of hope for generations to come, and a poignant reminder of humanity's capacity to endure and rebuild after unimaginable loss. In the twilight of his life, Tsutomu Yamaguchi remained a humble man, marked by both unimaginable suffering and extraordinary courage. Though his body bore the visible scars of radiation, it was his spirit that inspired millions around the world. He passed away in 2010 at the age of 93, leaving behind a legacy that transcended borders and generations. His life story was not merely one of survival, but a profound call to humanity, a warning about the devastating power of nuclear weapons and an urgent plea for peace. At his funeral, survivors, activists, and dignitaries from across the globe gathered to honor the man who had become a living testament to resilience. They remembered not just the horrors he endured, but the hope he carried, a hope that nuclear devastation would never again darken the skies. Today, Tsutomu Yamaguchi's name is etched into history books, peace memorials, and the hearts of those who believe in a world free from atomic terror. His extraordinary journey reminds us that even in the darkest hours, the human spirit can shine with unparalleled strength. As we reflect on his story, we are reminded that behind every statistic, every headline, there are real lives, real pain, and real hope. The story of the man who survived two atomic bombs is more than history. It is a powerful message that continues to resonate in our collective consciousness. Let his legacy be a beacon guiding us toward a future where peace prevails and such tragedies are never repeated.